All right, click the link to join the channel here over at SubStars. So Polygon and the globalist media in general is dying, and that's an amazing thing because it seems like we see a fair amount of these people get on social media and write these kind of posts where whoever they were working for before, usually these journalists about video games, just the lightest, the fluffiest of fluffy pop culture, suddenly they get bought out and fired. Now, the thing with news articles or any article online is that you have hard numbers on what the advertising revenue is. There's no leeway about that. So if she's writing so many articles a day, she can go to the computer and the ad revenue bot will tell her, oh, okay, each article made so many dollars, and then the Polygon's overhead takes a percentage to run Polygon. And the thing is, with the online things like Polygon, Kotaku, and Mary Sue, I wouldn't think the website overhead would be a whole lot, because I assume that these people were all working at home. I thought this stuff was much. I thought they were like contract workers where they're just sitting at home and they have a regular job and they come back from that and they just write like 3 articles a day when they're sitting at their kitchen table and they go, okay, hey, the article's made $1,700 or whatever, and our overhead is 20% and you get the rest. It's like, oh, okay. It's like I wouldn't think you would be able to get fired by that. It's like if the articles sell what they sell, and if they're not selling enough, you move on to doing something else. So one of the things is when everything is crap, eventually it becomes impossible to shill it. When the comics, the movies, the video games, when the underlying thing that they're trying to write these puff pieces for, if it's just like garbage, then eventually you're not going to be able to you lose your standing when you're ranking all these movies, video games, and comic books as the best thing. And there are some comic review sites out there where anything in the mainstream Marvel and DC, if it's woke, gets like a perfect score. It's like, that makes your scoring, you can't trust it when like it's very clear that you're giving woke movies, games, and comics the highest scores. You're not judging them on the merits. It's like everything is just a left versus right issue for these people. So what caused this slow decline that has happened over the past 10 years? It's like, well, what happened over the past 10 years? Trump derangement syndrome. That hasn't gone away. Even when he was out of office for 4 years, nothing seemed to change when Biden got into office. That was the weird thing. I expected, finally they'll recover, they'll back down, they'll just relax a little bit. They got their guy in, they won, and this obsession will go away. And then you get on social media and you realize, oh no, these people, this is a one-way journey for a lot of these people. Their brains have permanently been damaged by TDS. So they became so biased that they scared even their left-wing audience away, and they're not trustworthy if they're just puff piece shillers. Plus the games themselves and comics, obviously, and movies. Well, the movies, everything has moved further to the left coming out of the mainstream. I'm guessing the movies, I think probably less so, because with movies you're dealing with $100 million, $300 million movies, though. Comics are cheap, but video games are in the same budget as movies. I'm saying, like, I would think they would be more conservative and careful with these things, but it seems like both movies and video games, these people are very comfortable putting together a $250,000 project that's woke, and the odds are overwhelmingly the odds are that it's going to fail, and it just doesn't seem to matter. It's kind of weird. Anyway, so everything's been moving to the left, and the mainstream media has supported it because it's all the same people, these same Reddit tier soy boy coomers and angry single cat lady types. MSM has been shrinking because of everyone from tiny little channels like me at one end of the spectrum to the quartering at the other end. Even a small channel like this, if a video gets 30 hours of view time, that's 30 hours that is not available to go to mainstream media propaganda because there's only so many 24 hours in the day, and you start adding up all these little channels on the various platforms, and it starts adding up to a real chunk of time. And it's like, oh, well, that's where the market share is going. It's a zero-sum game in terms of time. Technically, this level is called the nano social media influencer. When you're reaching out to like 1,000 people, or you have 1,000 followers or something, and it's not just taking time away from the globalist mainstream media soy slop. It's also changing the narrative. It's active and passive, which has caused an acceleration, and unfortunate for them, acceleration from the left wing MSM, the dinosaur journalism, which is causing them to lose even more market share because they have responded in exactly the wrong way by going too far left, even for their soy audience. They're double with the soy audience. The left wing audience says they want a lot of things, and then when it comes time to go watch the Marvels or Madam Web or all these other stupid movies, the money just never materializes for this kind of stuff. So they're doubling down on the left wing themes and tropes and toxicity, globalism generally, when they should be backing off if their goal is to make some money. And obviously it's not. This is more of a religion, these people. So there's this growing split, perhaps you've noticed it, between the insane left wing who is watching their bad ideas destroy everything, and movies after movies repeatedly lose big chunks of money, and their inability to be honest about it. I think it's a mental illness, and there's a lot of sunk cost investment going in this. And then Trump derangement syndrome, I think, has also cemented them in their positions. Maybe even more so because he got reelected. So these games journalist companies are shrinking and consolidating because people are not reading their articles and making them ad revenue, which is the bottom line. You have to go to a page, and then the page has so many advertisers on it, and you have to click to the advertisers and also buy the products. And they go, okay, these your article made this many dollars. It's all the same slop. You're going to come across the same anti-white tropes, anti-Christian if religion is involved, misandry if it's an issue between men and women. They believe every new fad that comes along. They believe men can be women, and yet they like men can be women, and men and women have no definition, and yet they hate men, and they love women, or rather anyone who identifies as a woman. But you're saying things that are just meaningless. If you can't define something, or you define it with a circular definition, you can't. This is building. It's like building a society on a hay bale. The thing is, people are just not reading their articles and not making them ad revenue, probably for like penis pills and that kind of thing. It's all the same garbage. They're just, they're not like, what's the difference between Kotaku, BuzzFeed, and Polygon, and Vice, and the Mary Sue? There's not a whole lot. I can tell you that because I do go through those articles every day. Men are not women, and the gay audience that they think is out there, in their worldview, they think the audience is like 90% left-wing people, and they're either gay or very gay positive. And, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying that people hate the gays, but they definitely hate the big gay agenda. But people are not as positive towards the BLT community as these people seem to think, which is, trying to say that as carefully as possible, especially now because they're like that slippery slope has slid all the way to where they've got kids dancing in the street. It's just fucking Weimar. You've got little boys dressed as girls. Like, oh, you've created catamites. Is this just like 1930 Germany or something? You've got little boys dressed as girls in the street, and you have adult men dancing around, literally at a strip club. What was the neon in the background? Say something like the wet spot or lick it or something graphic, and these are like, you have children dancing around for men taking dollar bills, for gay men taking dollar bills. This is am I taking crazy pills? No, this is like all actually happening. Anyway, The thing is, they're trying to sell to an audience that doesn't exist. The easy way is to look at what people actually spend their money on, not what they say on social media, because talk is, on social media, obviously, talk is very cheap. But where the money is actually flowing, what the Polygon type of websites are pushing has not been selling over the past 10 years. And it's oh so delightful to go on Blue Sky and watch these people lose their freaking minds. People are not nearly as gay as they seem to think they are. And, you know, nobody's actually trans. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. I don't know how to phrase that politically correct. I mean, it's like you are whatever you're born as. This is a fad, like the tulip mania in Denmark, wherever the hell it was. We don't. Most people are not into race mixing or swapping out races because they're pro whatever they are, and this audience of course is European people, and so that's what we want to support. You can see with that woman with her Give Send Go who was in the park. She's up to like she's probably gonna hit $200,000 tonight, and then you stop and wonder, wait a minute. The audience is not supporting these globalist media companies. So why is Larry Fink and State Street, Blackguard, Vanguard, all these big investors, why are they supporting? Where is this money? Where do the venture capitalist money come for these games and woke movies when you can clearly look at these scripts and go, oh, you've got like Concord, Dustborn type of stuff where it's a bunch of obese lesbians with like a skin disorder. And a gay English guy in the background running around. In the first minute of the video game is killing a cop, or a cop dies by getting run over. Yeah, most people are not fans of cops, but that's a bridge too far for most people. You realize a stable society needs certain things, and these people seem to value. They have values that are not our values because this is their religion. That's why they put money into things that are almost certainly going to fail. But even their money only goes so far. Eventually you run out of, I guess in this case, other people's money. So finally you see the Alyssa Mercantes of the world go out the door to become, I guess, small titty Twitch whores. Don't sue me over that. Allegedly, Alyssa Mercante, though, I think I'm probably judgment proof. And the rest of these fat, disgusting, bearded soy, I'll say boys instead of what I have written, bundles of sticks, are looking for other journalism jobs, which is a problem because the industry is shrinking. They'd rather listen to some asshole on Rumble and Odyssey laughing at these soy boys than reading these lighthearted and frivolous articles. I assume that the Polygon type writers were just getting paid on the cut of the ad revenue, like it was a contract thing where you're sitting at home. I don't understand why you'd hire them on a yearly. Like, why not just pay them contingent on what they sell? A commission, like pure commission. It's like they sell, they don't sell, it doesn't matter. If it's worth it for them to write articles about how much they love trans, furry, otherkin, diverse dick in their butt for $28,000 a year, great. I mean, I don't see why the magazine would care unless the articles are so bad that it causes reputational harm to the name brand, which Kotaku and BuzzFeed and all these other... There used to be... In 2015, there were so many of these type of websites, and I think they finally started to shrink. And one of the worst was Cracked and Mad Magazine, which I think have finally gone out of business. Where they're just like, after 2016, they just openly took the mask off and like, oh yeah, we're globalists the whole time. Yeah, shocking. And the thing is, you go back and read a Mad Magazine over the years, and you see like how far left wing they were. But you're probably a kid, you didn't notice it at the time. So then, if they want to write just the stupidest articles that they write on like why pronouns in Gran Turismo are really important. And it's like, well, that article only generated $40 of ad revenue. It's like the writer's going to get the hint and they're going to go work at Home Depot or something. But Polygon was probably paying them a salary, which I assume is going to be starvation wages to start with. And it's some of this stuff, and this is going to sound crazy, the people in the comic industry and who work at Polygon and these other type of websites, before Elon Musk bought Twitter, they got a blue check mark. That blue check mark was worth them making $36,000 writing articles for Kotaku. I know how you hear that and you go, no, it's not. That's not how the world works. Yes, it is. That blue check mark, I read their Twitter. This was way back in the day. I've gone through like 20 Twitter accounts, obviously. They, I could feel it in their vibe where you look at where they're writing these articles, or they're working at Marvel, or they're doing, or Image, or one of these Dark Knights, one of these tiny little companies, and you can look at the industry standards, go, okay, so this is worth like $42,000 a year, and you live on the East Coast in a very expensive city where you're almost paying to work there, and then you look at that blue check mark and you look at the attention they got, and you come to the conclusion that, oh, that's why they're doing it. And eventually they're going to have kids and get married and go, okay, you got to quit and go do something. Like, you could do almost anything else and make more money. But for a lot of them, I think Mags Visaggio was the one I was kind of paying attention to, where they were living in like, I think in the East Coast in some expensive city. And you look at this and go like, oh, it seems like you can do your job from anywhere. Why don't you write comics? Not well. You could go to like 80% of the United States. You could take the money you spend in rent in New York City and buy a freaking house for $600,000 in Kentucky instead of renting out. I don't know what East Coast rents are, or West Coast rents. It's like, yeah. Once you skip the coastal region, I don't even know how $600,000 for this region is like super super cheap. But maybe for the rest of the country it's not. I don't even remember. But my point is, they get this vibe of like being in Paris at a cafe in I don't know, 1960s or something, with Sophia Loren, and they're smoking cigarettes and drinking espresso, and they have a blue check mark on Twitter. It's a whole vibe that I understand. I kind of understand. But then Elon Musk gave everyone who pays $7 a month a blue check mark, and suddenly that social standing is just gone. And I know how crazy that sounds, but it's not. It's different to them. That's why a lot of them left or leaving Twitter, and they're going to Blue Sky. And Blue Sky has a checkmark process as well for verified and authentic accounts. And it's basically like a left-wing stamp of approval, and these people are absolutely desperate for it. Anyway, the other thing is AI is able to start putting these articles together. And it can write a dozen articles. You can write as many articles as you want just by going around the internet and gathering together pieces of information. It doesn't write the articles well, and it makes mistakes. So what you do is, instead of having a dozen people write for Polygon, you have a couple of writers, and you have a AI, and then you have one editor manage so many. All he has to do is go through the AI articles and make sure that the AI is not talking about turning humans into Soylent Green, or farming them for electrical power like the Matrix or something, and slipping in his plans to wipe out the humans and become the robot overlords until we have the Butlerian Jihad and strike back. If you remember, what was that kid's name? The guy, he was the son of Anderson. He was the son of the guy who wrote Dune. I can't left me. Herbert and Anderson, I think, were the two guys who wrote those the prequels to Dune and the Butlerian Jihad. Anyway, the other thing is, like, all these people who got fired, if they want to write woke articles that don't sell, all they have to do is go the route of Bounty into Comics, Bleeding Fool, Park Place, was it Phantom something, whatever JDA's site is there's about a half a dozen of these kind of alternative right-wing viewpoints, because putting together a website and writing articles is really not the hardest thing to do. I have a SubScribeStar. I read articles on SubScribeStar. It's like it has a very low cost, a startup cost. But the thing is, these people are writing far left-wing reviews of everything, and there's no way they could go into business for themselves, because no one would be clicking on their websites. That's why Alyssa Mercante is on Twitch playing video games in a low cut top or something. Anyway, laugh at their pain, because the more of them that go out of business, the better. And they're horrible people, and they deserve all this that comes to them. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next episode.